Welcome to the Week in Italian Startup, where we discuss the latest highlights happening in the Italian tech and investment ecosystem. The corporate VC in Italy is moving really fast, and last week is the proof of it with Italgas, Edison, Mediobanca and Poste Italiane.
Yes, please pick your favorite one.
Pick your favorite. Well, my favorite. No, I'm joking. Let's start. Let's go in order. Let's start with actually like the raise. So ViteSicure, insuretech startup, raising almost 2 million euros from a syndicate. Here's an insuretech play, I would say, with the big trial to simplify insurance for life insurance in particular. And it's Italy is also seeing these kind of plays. And it's been seeing a few of those plays in the past years, and that's interesting. It's an interesting one.
Yeah,
what I found interesting of this is that actually this is backed by some big insurance company. So we have RGA, which is a Reinsurance Group of America, which is like a pretty much like a big group, which is investing in ViteSicure through their corporate VC arm, which is called RGAX. So that's another example of an insurance company kind of playing the VC game in a very structured way, I would say.
Yeah, that is true. And another one is Reale Mutual, the Italian insurance company that's doing the same basically.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, ViteSicure is an interesting play because it is pure digital distribution play for life insurance. So it's I believe, an interesting test bed for traditional players. This is not probably disrupting the market for them, but just a way to put a foot into another distribution channel, and seeing how it goes.
It's a digital distribution channel with some major player kind of making people feel secure about buying insurance online in a simple way. So another pillar of this is Square Life AG, which is essentially the issuer of the policies. And this is a huge company essentially working in a bunch of different geographies. So yeah, interesting, very, very interesting. Let's move on with the Kama.Sport, sports tech startup, raising 1.5 million for a 21 million post money evaluation. That's pretty interesting, I would say. So Kama is an interesting service platform, essentially giving sports professional metrics on different categories of data. So essentially, it's a data science hub for sports professional. So it's a cross between big data essentially and analytics, passing through video analytics and probably like different kind of metrics. So that's an interesting like tool, if you would say. And the guys essentially have been like a great year. Have had a great year. They had basically big football, like soccer celebrities, like onboarded, and nice round day. With the valuation is kind of on the high side, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely like on the move.
Yeah, it is. So I was not aware of the startup. It seems they have been working under the radar in their market and probably raising capital from their market. So I'm positive there are a lot of business angels coming from the soccer and football in the cap table.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because probably they are really developing a product that market wants. And seeing from the testimonials, it seems it is working.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Right. Moving
on. You hear me well? Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
Absolutely. So, moving on, 500,000 investment of impact in Test One Solution, a startup developing technologies for cleaning the environment from pollutants. So basically, how do you call it? Alpha impact, A impact.
That's a good one. I usually call it A-Impact.
Impact, yeah, from the Avanzi, the group
Exactly.
that is actually backing it. Awesome. And they've been really active. 2021, we've talked about that like many times. They're building like a good portfolio, I believe, very in line with what they're doing in terms of ethics. And this is the latest investments, which is very much scientific oriented, I would say.
Yes, indeed. But again, it is an interesting product since oil is a major pollutant for the oceans, and it seems that they are developing a foam that's able to absorb it.
Yeah. Nice play. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is extremely good for the environment if they are able to scale it up. So that's probably the real issue. I mean, I don't think they're going to deploy like 1 square kilometer of sponges on the ocean. So probably there's some way to scale the foam and to deploy it in order to be useful in collecting the spare oil, the spoiled oil on the ocean.
Yeah.
I mean, if they manage to scale it up, that's going to be probably a very important impact on the environment. So very good.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably one of the most prominent, I would say, one of the most prominent impact fund in Italy. So that's interesting because if we check their portfolio right now showing, we have like very good companies doing like basically applying re-economy logic to sort of be environmentally friendly, like Rice House. I know pretty well the project, basically they're building it up like very quickly. Basically, not only re-economy but also medical, housing, and basically anything that has like positively impacting essentially the economy. So that's it's pretty broad actually.
Yep. Investing across the board in the impact environment, impact sector. So
exactly. Interesting. All right. Let's talk about food. So after the huge raise of Pokè House, which essentially has been like a celebrity the last year in private equity because of their big expansion projects and so on and so forth. I mean, I wouldn't define it technically as a startup. I mean, let's be honest. It's a franchise play, but successful, not nevertheless. We're witnessing also other players in the sector raising money for a very similar cause. So that's Pokè, 1.3 million on Mamacrowd. So the crowdfunding people really like this kind of food. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see another player. I'm not sure whether there will be another Pokè House soon. Exactly, Nick. Nick is.
I don't know. It's like the 4th player that raised money in Italy in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
So I'm amused by the quantity of Pokè houses raising money from investors. We're becoming like the rulers of the world in Pokè. So I'm pretty sure it is becoming the national dish from Italy.
No, exactly. We discussed that. That's crazy because I mean we like Pokè, but how much Pokè can we really eat? I mean that's another.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it's an okay dish. I don't particularly love it, but it seems that we are high consumers as Italians. We are high consumers of Pokè.
Or we like to think that it's gonna work really well on the market. So the people in Mamacrowd are like, yeah, we can sell that.
That's a very fair point. I don't know where it comes from, but probably it's a reflection of the success of Pokè House.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But that's interesting.
Interesting.
I mean, they're looking for 20 million revenues in 2 years.
Yes.
Well,
it's a challenge. It's a huge challenge for sure. 26 location and 20 million euro. It's,
what do I know? What do I know? There are
what do we know?
Two other players doing something similar. So I mean, and one that just raised capital just a couple of months ago. The one from Venice.
Yeah. Totally. Interesting trend though. Right. Going to the corporations. Let's jump to the corporate VC. I really like this kind of plays, as you know. So a few different plays starting from Italgas, which is an Italian gas distribution company, essentially invested probably the biggest raise last week, $15 million in Picarro, which sounds extremely boring. I hope they're not listening, but very useful for sure, because it's a California company essentially working on the monitoring of gas distribution networks. So it's actually very safety oriented, very safety driven, completely in line with what Italgas is doing. So this is like a very sort of straight corporate VC sort of play, where the target company is really perfectly aligned with the mother company, I would say.
Yeah, even though I have to add that they are not specialized just in natural gas solutions, let's say.
Good point.
So just one of the markets where they operate, so they have also application in areas that I wouldn't believe Italgas was interested in, like pharma and health.
Yeah, good point.
That's interesting that they went all the way to an American company for to invest, take a board seat. That's an important involvement for a traditional company, even if they invested as a CVC deal.
Interesting.
So the CEO of Italgas joined the board of directors of Picarro. That's not an easy or a light involvement in the company. So that's really strategic one.
Yeah, for the record, Picarro does continuous monitoring for real-time insights. So they have different tools apparently for this continuous monitoring, as Nicola was saying. So energy is just one, but then we can see air quality, semiconductor, and pharma. So yeah, I mean, I would. My first question would be, where is the majority of revenue? Probably pharma and energy can be like probably huge. Air quality, I'm not too sure. Maybe on the raise. But yeah, definitely strategic for Italgas, I would say.
And I'm looking at the board of directors. There's Greylock on the cap table.
Interesting. Yeah.
So not too shabby.
No, exactly. Strategic too for the VC space. Awesome. Right, moving on to Edison, also announcing an investment in Condeo, a condominium management startup. So again, very sort of inline deal, I would say. Edison, like basically providing energy on different levels, working on renewables, low carbons, and so on and so forth. Essentially, adding a tool into their tool sets, I would say.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a good diversification, a core business. So it might make sense. So the amount, I couldn't find any amount for the investments. Jack, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Perfect.
Okay, sorry, I had some feedback in my earphones. Anyhow, I couldn't find the amount invested, so this is probably quite a seed.
Yeah.
Stage round. Startup appears to be just out of a startup bakery. That's a startup studio. So I believe it's quite early stage. Still.
Cool. Still, yeah. I mean, again, another proof that. Like what we said last week, like corporate VC is really moving fast, and a little bit. I mean, occasionally on the newspaper, occasionally under the radar, but definitely moving. So this is an additional confirmation of that, I would say.
I agree.
Yeah. Mediobanca, that's interesting. Mediobanca Private Banking launching a VC fund focused on investing in American startups and funds. So I tried to do a little bit of digging into this kind of deal, And turns out that, okay, cool guys.
I knew this would trickle your interest.
Yeah, totally. No, I mean, US VC funds, very interesting. Turns out that essentially the vehicle is a sub-fund of Russell Investment, Alternative Investment ICAV, which essentially is playing, is like a fund of fund, I would say. It's not directly involved with companies. Basically, this fund is essentially looking for emerging managers, and so they're like playing like the fund of fund game, I would say.
It is not exactly clear from their communication. The goal for sure is to expose the private banking clients to the venture capital market in America. So that seems to be the goal of the strategy.
I agree.
But the execution of fund manager, not a direct investor, not a VC, let's say so.
Exactly.
But I cannot say that the communication is crystal clear.
Yeah, it's Irish based. Russell Investment is an Irish company, so defined as Irish domicile. And yeah, I mean, what is interesting though is that private bankers in general, they're trying to really look for new products, and the VC space is probably like the next frontier, I would say. Now that crypto is kind of the bad guy, the high risk, VC by comparison feels like safer in a way. So it kind of passed the baton in that sense. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we have some other domestic example for that.
Exactly.
But curiously, it's not on the news today. So it was a quiet week in the Azimuth space.
Interesting. All right, moving on with M&A is actually Poste Italiane. Poste Italiane also doing pretty well in terms of digital acquisition. So acquisition of Lease Holding for 700 million euros. That's also like quite a huge move, I would say.
Yeah, I think the Lease Holding is the company businesses that come from Lottomatica. So basically, Poste is expanding in this area of payments. Poste is another company that's trying to become a bank. I think we spoke a lot about this. Now banks are trying to become digital companies, and everybody else is trying to become
wants to be a bank, exactly.
and Poste is quite advanced in this trajectory. So this is part of the strategy.
Yeah.
300 million, quite a
not bad.
Considerable amount, yes.
Not bad at all. Yeah. I would then actually talk about the Airtime Participazioni, which is also an interesting company. I was not aware of it. So Airtime Participazione acquired Energy Solution for 30 million, also a huge acquisition. So yeah, I was very curious. So they're basically also, Airtime is a holding company with a very sort of flexible investment model. I would say, mostly oriented toward a digital space. But I was trying to check on the portfolio, but I couldn't really.
Yeah, they've got a couple of brands underneath the company. One is Nexidia. That's one of those multi-channel or omni-channel communication services. WhatsApp, SMS, email, something similar probably to not really Twilio, but data or that. And then another one that's is Airtime Technologies, which I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. And basically, the acquisition of the German company is somewhat relevant for the Mixedia, this omni-channel solution provider that they have in the portfolio. But Airtime Exchange, this is another one.
Interesting.
I'm navigating the website as well real time. They also have a real-time marketplace where telco carriers can trade minutes and text with no credit risk.
Okay.
Whatever that means. I have no idea what this is.
Yeah. They have a very complicated governance. There seems to also play with smart contract as well. So probably there is some form of smart contract there. We haven't seen them pretty much moving last year, I believe, right? It's kind of a new.
Well, I don't recall anything from them last year. But they are a different company. The Italian company on the French.
Yeah, you're right. Yes.
On the French exchange, and with almost 400 million market capitalization.
Mm-hmm.
Not a very small company, so not a huge corporation, but
yeah.
We need to study them a little bit more.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. Let's maybe try to wrap up with the work from our friend Ilaria Cavalleri on incubators and accelerator in Italy. That's so incubators, accelerators, venture studio. It's been a huge trend in Italy in the past, I would say 3 to 4 years. They've been definitely growing. So there is some interesting statistics. Here, about 38 incubators certified by the Chamber of Commerce. In Italy, we have actually a section where incubators can list and can be accredited. So that's pretty unique, I would say. About the good majority is located in north of Italy, and there are a lot of private sponsor actually working with the incubator and accelerator. So 60% is backed by private sponsors.
But that's probably the only way where incubators could actually, or accelerators could actually work, Yeah. So you need a lot of sponsorship, and the big players taught us how to do it. But there's another data point that surprised me, the turnover data point. So even though there is a lot of skewedness, because I believe that just a few operators produce the majority of revenues, but still the average is 1.5 million turnover per incubator or accelerator. That's probably much higher than the average turnover of startups in Italy. So it's kind of surprising. So it was come on. Probably there is a lot of skill.
Yeah.
There's some examples, some accelerator, or incubator, but they have big numbers.
Yeah.
But still, it's
and considering that's I was thinking compared to the weight on essentially all the investments done in 2021. So it's not a small part of the investment, but it's probably will grow more and more relevant probably. So it's 348, but it aligns with your comment on the average turnover, 1.52 million. Very interesting. Yeah,
but there are much more and with much higher numbers than I expected. Let me say this.
Interesting. Nick, fantastic. So I think it is a wrap.
Let me just spend a comment on the driverless vehicles news.
Yes.
That's Estrima, this maker of these very small, very tiny electric cars, electric vehicles. I don't even know if you can call them cars, but it was quite interesting that they announced this team up with a UK operator, and they are going to experiment in Milton Keynes this driverless service, not autonomous vehicle, but driverless service. So basically, you jump on one of these small cars, and there is someone remotely driving the car for you.
That's I didn't catch that. That's pretty awesome. Really cool.
That's interesting. There is this kind of service, and they're doing it with these vehicles.
The thing is, remote driving is getting like more and more trendy. Also, not only in driving, there was also some companies that were trying to work on construction work done remotely. So basically, people like driving big like excavator machines remotely, like in caves and things like that. So minimizing risk and kind of getting a better sort of health for employees. And I mean, what's next? That's pretty intense.
So the question that I'm going to ask them is this one. I mean, after the pandemic, basically all the knowledge workers were able to work from home.
Yeah.
But if you were a worker in construction, you cannot, of course, by definition. But are we looking at a new wave of innovation? Whereas also, if you are how do you call it, a physical worker? I'm looking for the term here. But if you're working in the physical world, will you be able to work from home as well? Smart work.
Let me give you a keyword: is physical work decentralized?
Yeah, remote physical working. That's interesting.
Awesome point. All right, Nick, and with that, thank you very much for joining, and for the people listening. So we're available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast, and we're live every Monday at 7 p.m. Please follow Nicolò newsletter as well, and then we're gonna discuss the topics every week. And see you all next week in the week in Italian startups. And thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Nick. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.